Welcome back, everybody. This is going to be a longer one in that I want to get in touch with the rest of my companions, see what they've been up to over the past year or so. Go visit Merrill. And then I also want to go do Sebastian's little companion quest, his little side mission. And it's not vanilla, it's serious business.
You seem very angry. And here I thought the Chantry was against mind reading. Did something happen to you in this?
Also want to check all the merchants while we're here in Lowtown. Should be a few armor upgrades. Here's one. Rigid boning for Isabella. Wow. No innuendo there. None whatsoever.
I understand there were problems in Ferelden.
Are you saying a mage can only be unhappy in a circle if demons are involved? No. It's not about Aldred. It's not about being beaten or raped by a Templar. That does happen.
Actually, Anders is going to give the go-to argument behind his whole personal cause, you know, the plight of the mages and stuff, and he's going to, this way overused argument on the mages' behalf, and brings up a really good point, actually, because that argument in and of itself defeats itself. If you look at the whole picture.
But I've been fortunate. It's a larger principle. The freedom every man, woman, and child born in Thedas have as a natural right.
All right, and twisting that argument is what has completely blinded him, and I think a lot of folks, when they look at it, is the need to first point a finger, right, and say that you're either giving me my rights or depriving me of my rights, and it's your fault or it's not your fault, and standing there pointing fingers, eventually once guns get in those same hands, you're not pointing fingers, you're pointing guns, and eventually people wind up shooting each other, as long as they stand around pointing fingers and never actually solving anything. That whole argument doesn't really hold any water, and I'll tell you why. This is my 2 cents, is that I hear people say this a lot, you know, a child being taken away from their parents at a young age to be sent off to the circle against their will. Okay, well, your will, when it would violate the rights of everyone else, isn't any more valid, right, than any other ill will. In terms of, okay, you want to save your child the discomfort of going to the circle at a young age, but then a demon who attacks that child day and night for the simple fact that that child has magic, so they draw demons to themselves, and left unprepared, untrained, and undisciplined, right, that child is born with something that other people don't have, and that is a weapon, which is their mind. They can blow shit up with their mind, okay? And that does make them different than everyone else. Oh, you're being a magist. No, I'm not a magist. I'm just stating a fact. That child is different because they're born with some shit that everyone else doesn't have, which is the ability to blow up stuff. And the first time their feelings get hurt, feelings unchecked, you leave some brat throwing a temper tantrum the ability to burn the house down, guess what's going to happen at some point if you don't give that child dessert when they demand it, and so on and so forth. And I'm not saying every mage is a spoiled brat. In fact, my argument here, honestly, regardless of how it sounds here on the surface, is not anti-mage whatsoever. I actually fully agree that they deserve the same rights as everyone else, but I'm going to take that phrase literally, the same rights as everyone else. The second half of that phrase says it all. That family of farmers down that road, or this group of villagers over here, have the same right to life that mage does. Flip that coin and look at the rights of the rest of Thedas as opposed to these mages. The right to live. That mage gone unchecked. Once that mage brings demons into this world, which those demons will at some point convince that undisciplined, untrained mage that is the right thing to do. How do I know this? I've seen it a billion friggin' times in just 3 installments of Dragon Age. It's what mages do when left unchecked. Well, Morgan didn't do that. Morgan had an ancient elven goddess as her mama. I mean, shit, what better training could you ask for? But your average Joe Blow brat, okay, who's born with magic, the first time they throw a tantrum, right, and they think the right thing to do would be kill this whole villagers because they didn't get ice cream for dessert, okay? Now, throw in the crimes that these Templar thugs, who aren't even Templars anymore, but just these criminals wearing shiny armor, throw in the stuff that they do to actually instigate this type of behavior from mages, and what do you think they're going to do? At some point, you're going to have enough, and you're just going to go off. And if I have the power to blow shit up with my brain, that's what I'm going to do. You done pissed me off for the last time, punk. Take that big polished helmet you got there and stick it in your, you know, that's what mages are going to do. Okay? Now, throw in this, is that a lot of these rebel mages who feel that the circle shouldn't even be an entity whatsoever, much less the Templars, due to either past wrongs or some ideal, or the simple fact that they're already being led by demons, namely the Elder One, are going to get in there, and this is thrown in here in Dragon Age 2. For all the mage sympathizers don't want to look at all the facts. Okay, throw in the fact that it's mages who are instigating 90% of what's going on in the circle. And using the Templars' actions, which they're already doing, the shit's obvious. You got these thugs in Templar uniforms raping and torturing and doing what they do, and then Meredith, the more the mages do, the more she feels justified in acting out all of her fanatical behavior, turning mages tranquil for no reason and doing all this. That's all fuel for the fire. And so these instigators that are in there amongst the mage ranks, the blood mages that have already crept in, including the Grand Enchanter himself, all right, are just using all this as justification to further their cause, to where, you know what, you don't even have to see reason anymore, all right? The Templars are wrong, therefore I do this, right? So anything you put in that blank at the end of that sentence, Templars are wrong, therefore I, blank. Fill in that blank with anything you want to. Summon demons, kill everybody, destroy the world, cut myself in half to raise more demons so that everybody can die. And, you know, I mean, it's totally out of control. And the bottom line is this can't end well, and it's a train wreck with no answer, right? Because humans are flawed, and we're going to find that, you know, as much as someone like to say, well, not every single mage is drawn into temptation. You know what? Not even non-mages are immune to that. I'm going to take some non-mages into the Fade, probably in the very next video, and we're going to see that they're not immune to it. They can be tempted also. Okay, so it's not just a mage thing. The problem is mages, they're double damned, because being born with magic, they attract demons. Demons want to use that mage as a conduit to get in here into this world and wreak havoc, okay? And left untrained and undisciplined, their weapon becomes a mine for someone else's hand to pull the trigger whenever they want, namely a demon, right? Or some other blood mage who's influencing their mind and has got them under control. Look at the Tevinter Magisters and the Warden Mages in Inquisition, for example, where you can corrupt an institution so honorable as the Wardens themselves, right? And then what we're going to throw into that, then we're going to look at the Templars and all that and what they've become as an institution. And they're not even Templars. Not here. Look, Meredith is running the Viscount. She's telling the Chantry what to do. Tell me that's not backwards. And you got this tool calling herself the Grand Cleric, who's this wet piece of tissue paper on the towel rack. She's just totally useless, right? She's the only one who really can keep the Templars, or should be keeping the Templars in check. And the Templars are telling her what to do. And she's like, well, if you do anything, you're lifting the wrong finger, so just don't lift one at all. We just won't do anything, and things will solve themselves. Yeah, well, how that's gonna work for you, lady? I don't think you're gonna like the answer. You may wind up paying the price for that. All the innocent people that have died due to your inactivity. Yeah, that's what the Chantry can take credit for. Is as much death and destruction that the mages and the Templars have caused. Honestly, let's talk to Meryl real quick.
Have you heard from your sister? Is she settling in all right with the circle?
Our mother checks on her frequently. She seems to be adjusting.
Maybe it's nice for her to finally live without hiding. She's strong. If anyone can get through this, she can. Don't blame yourself.
If I'd gotten home sooner, she might still be free.
Once the Templars knew, nothing you could have done would have saved her. Things will be all right. Somehow.
Yeah, I think her care is genuine. I'm seeing Meryl in a new light. I'm going to look at her her mirror that she has in the next room, which will come up later. Look at that in a different light also. It's not this superstitious omen of doom, but something else entirely. I don't know. Just go into it with open mind, so to speak. All right, but anyway, so basically the whole point that I'm making is that argument on the mage's behalf, right, actually works against itself. It's kind of a contradiction, because when you talk about everyone's rights, people say, well, it's a mage argument. No, it's actually an argument for everybody, okay? And to defend everyone's right to live, and, all right, you can't live happy if you're dead. All right, so first we'll just talk about keeping people alive. Then we'll work on being happy after that. All right, and in the current circumstances, no one's going to be happy. This isn't going to end well. It can't end well, because it's basically feeding itself into a frenzy to where everything has to come to a head and has to explode. This train has to this is a train running down the tracks without brakes. Everyone's seen the movie, right? Where the train, I mean, it has to end badly. There has to be a big train wreck somewhere on down the line, right? And so we're headed for that full speed ahead. But basically, mages, once they're born with magic, and everyone feels, if there's no one to point a finger at, then there's not a problem. No, sometimes there's just no one to blame. Sometimes shit just is. Sometimes stuff just happens, right? That child being born with magic, however that fits into the maker's plans and this and that and blah, 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 whatever. Bottom line is dealing with things as they are right here and right now, is that if that mage is born with magic, that mage is obligated to go get training. Here's the catch, is if that training is not available, what is one to do? Well, create an apocalypse. The world has to end badly if that's the case, because that's the situation we have here, is the institution that is ordained to provide that training for mages threat-free, where they are given a formal education and a discipline to not only nurture their magic and make them even stronger, but for the power of good, so that magic can benefit others, all right? And we find that properly trained circle mages, that's their job. Healers are healers, okay? The ones that go to war and defend your borders, right, and throw the fireballs at the right people, usually ends up being the bad mages on the other side of the line, getting those fireballs full in the face with their whole truck of demons behind them. But whatever the case may be, the mages that harness their power for good and fight against evil, a fight against that which would destroy innocence, okay? All right? And that comes back to the argument is, do they have the same rights as everyone in Thedas? Yes. But you got to factor in everyone in Thedas has that right to live also, and that right is threatened when mages go unchecked, because they are susceptible to the influence of demons who will come into this world and kill those very same innocent people that magic could serve. All right? All right? Because remember, in their war against the mages and their war fighting, for the mages and, against the plight of the mages and this and that, blah, 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 it's usually innocent people which die in the process. They have just as much a right to life, if not more so, than that friggin' mage whose parents are so emo that rather than see the big picture, would rather than save themselves a day of heartbreak, but lose their child completely in the process on down the road, because that child gone unchecked, right, will result in an apostate, goes rebel, and finds some cause to take up for him or herself to destroy a whole bunch of innocent people in the name of some cause. And you know what? These farmers don't deserve that. All right. And I say these farmers is just kind of just a symbol for all innocent people in general. These villagers down the road, even their livestock, that friggin' cow over there chewing on grass, didn't expect that fireball coming out of the hands of an angry mage shooting at a Templar because of whatever. Okay. Innocent, that's a lot of collateral innocent death to defend the rights of an innocent, where honestly, that mage does not have the right to not go to the circle, okay? Your freedom is to be able to get a free education to harness and discipline your mind to keep you from killing yourself, your family, those innocents down the road, and everyone else. Thedas in general. Okay, so the right to life of Thedas in general starts with those mages being responsible for this gift and or curse that they're born with, right, to discipline it. Problem is, the circles, not all of them, right? This one here in Kirkwall, this travesty that they call a circle, this isn't a circle. All right, this is a bunch of thugs running a prison that are just, they're power mad. They're no better than the rebel mages that we see raising demons and killing everybody, all right? I get that, all right? But a circle should provide that training, and that's harder and harder to find, okay? And the rebels are just as responsible for raising sedition in those circles to make sure that it never becomes available for mages. Huh?
In 3 years. It's easier for people to find me this way. Do you remember the relic I told you about? The one I need to find? I've been following a lead. I'm so close I can taste it.
Isn't that what you said last time?
Oh, you mean when I went digging for that stash?
Yes. That turned out to contain several badly written poems and an old boot.
It could have contained the relic. I just thought I'd let you know that I may soon be taking you up on that offer of help.
You can count on me.
Thanks. I appreciate it. If I learn anything new, you'll be the first to hear about it.
A lot of friendship points right there.
Why do you always win at cards?
Because I cheat, kitten. This trinket, it's Elven, isn't it? From your clan. Don't bet anything you're not prepared to lose. Here, have it back.
Not the best mentor for Meryl, I don't
A
think,
jigger of
though.
your finest whiskey for my friend over here. The Hanged Man's finest isn't much, but it'll get you just as drunk as anything you'll find in Hightown.
And you'll wake up and find someone stolen your trousers.
That's when you know it's a party. I thought I'd have to watch myself around you, but as it turns out, you're all right.
What do you mean I'm all right?
You don't judge people. You're not afraid to get your hands dirty. You know, little things like that. If I had someone like you on board my ship when the storm hit, maybe we wouldn't have been shipwrecked.
If you hadn't been shipwrecked, we wouldn't have met. That would have been a shame.
I'll drink to that.
And even more friendship points. I'll take it. All right, we'll be buddies.
Why was your friend made
Like I said, I think I'm going to romance Meryl, though,
No, and it doesn't matter.
in this one.
No
Not the
need.
canon I imported to Inquisition, but that's cool. That's what the keep is for. I could, change that. Maybe even play a character with these direct imports from my
Start making slaves trade.
Origins playthrough and my Dragon Age 2 playthrough here that we did for YouTube. That'd be cool.
Slaves do not attract demons that try to possess them.
Which clearly justifies it. What a perfect solution.
Anders is not capable of seeing reason. He's bent and now he's blinded, and so he's going to do more damage to his cause than any good he could ever do. And that's giving him a bit of an excuse, considering his whole situation. But he can't wash himself completely of responsibility for the things that he's done and the things he's going to do. I mean, he's fully responsible for it, and he needs to be, But that doesn't undo the amount of harm that he can do, mostly to innocents. The bullets that Anders fires off reach their target last and kill a whole lot of innocents on the way. He, in his striking out at the Templar, that hammer blow may take out one or two Templars, but it's going to take out a whole lot of other collateral in the process. And yeah, it's a shame. But he's bent on he's not going to veer from his course. He's been perverted, whether it's that demon living inside him or whatever they've become a twisted version of how they may have started. Whatever the case, it's not going to end well. But anyway, so the whole argument about I don't like to see a child taken from their parents at 10 years old. Well, it needs to be looked at in a different light. That's what I'm saying.
About protection. Blondie's got enough trouble.
You see, there you go. Varric's been watching Blondie's back and Anders' back, and Anders didn't even know it.
You made it into Hightown. I'd expect anyone else to get complacent, but you must have plans.
No plans yet. I'm simply trying to look out for my mother.
After everything that happened with Bethany, that's probably good thinking. To be honest, I thought there might be a chance you'd want to go back to Ferelden now that things have calmed down. It's good to hear you're sticking around.
What would I do without my trusty dwarf? I'd cry myself to sleep without you.
Oh, don't get all teary-eyed on me, Hawk. You know I can't stand to see a human cry. So, we've got a whole city-state full of trouble to get into. Shall we get started?
I've got something for you, Varric.
My father's signet ring. Where did you find it? Bartrand pawned it off to pay for the expedition. I can't believe you found it. This sounds exactly like the sort of fake thing I'd make up about you.
When you tell people, mention that I got it from the belly of a dragon.
I'll throw in a couple of werewolves and a griffin for balance. Well, maybe now my contact at the gates of Orzammar won't ignore my letters. Paramount is hoping that if he just shuts his eyes tight and wishes, the real world will go away. Anyway, I owe you one, Hawk. Remind me later to put you on my tab.
Isn't that how everyone in charge eventually decides to deal with problems? Is just to hope that elephant sitting there in the middle of the room growing fat, suffocating everybody, just goes away. And yeah, it never does. That's what our Grand Cleric here in the Chantry. You know, I think they really do a good job in Dragon Age 2 of presenting the worst side of all the institutions. The Chantry and its uselessness. They just collect tithes and sit there and grow fat off the proceeds for doing essentially nothing. Literally nothing. Right? To where whatever they do have the authority to do, they don't act it out as a whole. And the individuals in there that do mean right, okay, that do have good motives, are smothered by those who are inactive, ineffectual, and serve no purpose whatsoever, except for just to wear the fancy robes and get a free ride from that, regardless of their position of authority in the Chantry. And it's sad. You can assume the same type of corruption, complacency, gluttony is present in all the other ones and leads to the things that we see. Anyway, so all right, kind of tearing down that whole argument, you know, on behalf of the mages, that it doesn't really work, but at the same token, not coming against the mages, but saying that the solution lies outside of that, rather than both sides just pointing fingers at each other. That's not going to get anywhere. Well, it's going to lead to what it's going to lead to, but that's not the solution. Except for, I guess now it is the only solution, because essentially what started it is two people not being able to agree on any one thing. And what's going to finish it is two people not being able to agree on any one thing. You know, the Templars being able to watch over the mages without ruling over them is kind of the same as mages using magic without using it to rule over others. And the Chantry serving with authority without ruling over others, even if it's by inactivity, right? Being some authority, but never putting forth anything that's of any use to anybody. They're like this shadow overhanging everybody, pulling at their conscience, the strings of their conscience, but never actually providing any answers, and certainly not doing anything when they are called upon is to keep the Templars in check, to keep corruption out of the rank of the Templars and the Seekers, and so on and so forth. Totally useless in that regard. Is they're going to be peaceful and pacifists? Well, that's a good excuse to just be lazy and useless. And that's what they become. So they're just this gluttonous cow laying on their side out in the pasture, having eaten so much they can't even get up now. That's what your Chantry is, all right? And your Templars are just corrupt from top to bottom. Is their initial mission. They've completely departed from that. And the mages also. You know, you have this responsibility. You have this what could be a gift, but it's just as easily a curse. It's become a curse because of not being willing to accept responsibility for that gift and do what's required to rein that gift in, right? Temper it and use it for what it could be used for. And instead, you take the easy path and you go for free, easy, quick power, right? Which always comes at a cost, and it results in corruption. And so there's corruption in every rank. And so I can't side with the mages, right? You are just as wrong for siding with the mages as you are for siding with the Chantry or for the Templar. They're all bad, right? And so there is a need for change. There has to be a revolution of some side, of some way, but that doesn't make Anders right. Right? Meredith would call for a revolution. Wipe out all the mages. That's the answer. In some ways, she's right on a certain point, but in the whole, no, she's not. Anders would make everyone choose a side at the expense of killing off a lot of innocents to force people into a corner. That's wrong. Okay? On one point, it's right, but the other 99 points, it's completely wrong. And so everyone's wrong. So what is the right answer? Well, if you think you can get two people to agree on any one thing, then there would be an answer. But seeing as that's absolutely impossible because people are flawed, there honestly isn't one. There has to be a change. There has to be a somewhat of a revolution. There has to be something new. And I think each age kind of, well, not each age, but each new era begins with something like that. The original Inquisition, there was a need for something new because things had come to a head, and there was no more solutions. There were no more answers. There were no more fingers to plug the holes in the dam. The dam eventually had to break. And that's what we see coming to a head here, is there's so many problems, there is no one big Band-Aid that can fix it. In fact, there is no group of Band-Aids that can fix all of them. It's too multifaceted. There's too many people responsible for it, and these people seem to think they have the answer, and that's the problem. Is none of them are qualified to exercise the authority that they have to solve any of this. And I don't know. You know what? I honestly see that as being a problem in the world today. Is the corruption is so deep, all right? And that the people in charge to fix it are the very people doing it. So guess what? It's not going to get fixed. You're not going to get the sheriff to investigate a murder he committed. You'll hear me say that a lot, and it just applies. It's just, it's the problem. And what is the answer? You know what? Sometimes the answer is that there isn't one. Sometimes it needs to go away. It needs to die. It needs to come to a head and blow up. And from the wreckage, something new needs to come up that's different than what you have. And you know what? But each time man brings up something new, even if it starts right, it becomes corrupt. Because once again, that message that Dragon Age sends to us over and over and over is people are flawed. Is even if you have the right idea, it's going to be corrupted. Is that man in and of himself is not capable of correcting the problems that he creates, right? Because he would give himself the authority to solve the problems that he himself is making with his solutions, and it's just a catch-22. It's a paradox, and it just never ends well. It just won't. And but it doesn't stop us from trying, though, right? Human nature is to keep pressing on, one way or another. Even if we're banging our head against that wall, damn it, we're going to break through it eventually. Even if it takes several heads to do it. We'll keep trying, you know, and it's yeah, stubborn pride. Anyway, I don't know. Once again, you know, it seems like it always kind of comes back to that, but really, I think that point is made in so many different ways in this game, and it does have some bearing on real life problems. They give it a different face in here, and they make it fun. We get to run around and, you know, swing our swords and cast our spells and stuff like that. But the problems are real. You know, the whole inability of man to solve his issues without some measure of faith, without some measure of looking outside of himself to eventually realize, hey, we don't have the answer to this, you know? It always comes down to that, doesn't it?
Don't come running to me next time you pick up one of these diseases.
Isn't that the point of magic?
I don't want to know.
Things just keep getting worse. I had Templars practically on my doorstep the other night.
The Templars are hunting you.
Not me specifically. They were just checking the refugee camps. But it's not like this place is a secret. It's only a matter of time.
I can't say you've been keeping a low profile.
The Knight Commander is out of control. Even her own people have been talking about it. The curfews, the midnight raids on mages' families. Everyone I know forced into hiding so they won't be made tranquil.
Is that making it harder for you? With justice?
In the Fade, there is no time. Emotion rules everything. Justice doesn't know how to sit idle until the right moment to strike. And I can't say I have any greater patience. I fear what my anger has made of my friend.
You chose to merge with him. Only you can make it work.
I am trying. I have not attacked the Templars openly. I've helped the mages here as best I can, but this impasse cannot last. One day, everyone in Kirk will have to choose a side.
Well, I see nothing but harm in everything he's saying and every motive he's got, and the bottom line is the only factor here is when. It's not what. It's, you know, the why issue isn't even more. In fact, if he found 100% reason in the face of every argument he might have, if he found a reason not to do what he's going to do it anyway. He's dead set on it. And so he can't see reason, he can't see logic, he can't see common sense, he can't see the harm he's doing. He can't see that he is a hypocrite in every sense of the word in his actions, is that he's going to do the very thing he's fighting against. He is everything he claims to hate. And I think that fuels his hate. I think that feeds itself. He's a self-feeding monster. He's growing fat on this cause that's lost any identity on what it initially was in the first place. So, like I say, it's not even a matter of what, it's just when. There's always that word yet that tags on, you know, what he's done. I haven't openly attacked the Templars yet. I haven't killed a bunch of innocents trying to get to my enemy yet. I haven't forced the issue yet. But, you know, I think really, in a lot of ways, he has already crossed that line. It's just the results of his actions just have to be seen. So that's all that's really left now, is he's beyond help, beyond saving. All right, so this is Sebastian's companion quest. Essentially, the mercenaries and everything that were hired to basically murder his whole family, he's the only one that's left. It's led back here, and it's these the Harrymans, and they were essentially allies of the Vales.
More, you lazy son of a bitch! What's taking so long?
Flora?
Why does no one in this house care what I want? More wine, or I swear I will drown you in the dregs.
She doesn't even see us. This is no normal wine.
Alright, so something very strange going on here. But if the mercenaries were hired by these people here, now that person's definitely not in control of their senses, obviously. But, I'll try to check every room, see if we can't unlock a few notes here and there. Any codex we find, I'll... Okay, this leads back to the entrance. Have I missed any doors? Yeah, I'm gonna double check these side doors down here. Anything on this front desk? No. It's nice having the command wheel. Sometimes things will pop up that you didn't see when you walked by them. Okay. I don't think we've missed anything.
More logs. It must be molten. You, more coins. I want every scrap of gold in this house.
Please, Monsieur!
There's nothing to fear. You'll be beautiful. Pour it over her.
Don't! You'll kill her! He can't hear me.
Perhaps I should be the one.
We must end this madness.
What's up with these elves in here serving these people or whatever? Weird. Interesting. Okay, so we have some 24 men from the Imperium being brought in to do some work on the house. And there's an armor upgrade for Sebastian. I'll take that. It's a nice freebie. Something I didn't have to pay 2 or 3 gold for, right? Any other doors accessible here? Just this one?
I visited this house often as a child. They could not have concealed such goings-on.
Okay, so that direction over there leads to the actual quest marker. So these Imperium, probably Magisters or whatever, came here. I wonder if they came here just... I doubt it's coincidence that they showed up here. Okay, so that leads to the... We'll go down there last. I want to look up here real quick. Okay, history of the Vales themselves. Their rise to power in Starkhaven. Essentially, they were promoted to rule the country.
Lower.
What the hell?
I beg your pardon, Hawk. I did not mean to expose you to such things.
No, the feather. Use the feather. Where have you been all my life? Today, I am more than a man. Come, felicitate me.
He has no idea we're here. I've known Ruxton Harriman my whole life. He's a complete prude.
Where's your brother? Let's ask him to join us.
Okay, so everyone's tripping here. We need little Missy's Get Your Freak On going on in the background here. You know what I'm saying? Alright, let's see. Anything else? Alright, let's see what's this. Okay, so everyone's lost their minds here about the time that these Imperial Magisters come here to start working on the house. Interesting. Alright, well that'll all play into what's going on here, I'm sure. But there's something else behind this, because these people, yeah, they aren't worried about murdering the Veils. They're worried about getting their freak on and getting toasty and covering people in gold and doing all kinds of freaky stuff. I guess that's all the pleasures, sexual, material. Pleasurable, you know, on the whole getting drunk, staying drunk thing. All the vices. There you have it. In a nutshell. See something at work here in this house, and it's not a good thing. Ah, sweet quest item for Sebastian. That's exactly what that is.
Turn back. There is nothing here for you.
Odd. When we watched you being a drunken ass, you ignored us completely.
You shall not enter.
Yeah, well, they're definitely out of sorts, so... Ah, and lo and behold, demons. And I'm sorry, if there's a mage behind all this, then, can that just speak for itself? Need I say anything? Just saying. Need I even say anything? Alright, now, I'm not going to say I'm unhittable, but notice being obscure definitely raises my overall defense as far as that goes. There will be a point where while I'm obscure like that, when I'm kind of grayed out, basically every attack is a critical, and so we'll start putting critical numbers up on everything. And that does kind of lean towards maybe keeping a rogue in the party sometimes. See, there we go. I'm obscure again right now, and if all these were criticals, all these attacks, it'd be pretty tasty, especially once we start really buffing our critical damage. It'd be really nice.
We must see what greater evil they were protecting.
That wasn't evil enough for you, Sebastian? That wasn't enough evil for you? We can't just settle for that and just say, all right, well, house is full of creeps. Let's get out of here. No, we're gonna be true stars of the horror movie. And oh, house is haunted. Hey, let's go investigate further. Stupid us.
A ruin so close to Hightown. I remember no such thing.
All right, so this house, and I can imagine much of Kirkwall's built on Tevinter. Well, I mean, this was, you know, was Tevinter territory, right? This is where Tevinters had their slaves and stuff. So, could this be an old magister from way back when, from old times? Could this be his house, or attached to what was maybe his house, you know, from way back when Kirkwall was still a essentially a slave prison. Knowing some of the city's history helps to understand maybe why some of these Tevinter ruins would be here, and just what role they would play in the Tevinter Magisters of old. This was their thing, you know. And you know, if you needed blood to empower your blood magic, and call in, you know, ever more powerful demons and get ever more power, blah blah blah, you know, the whole mage thing. What was nice to have slaves on hand to basically an endless source of that. Anytime you needed a human sacrifice, there you had your slaves. And so Tevinters would bring the slaves in not only to work their mines and quarries, but be a constant source of power, essentially, for their magic. Of course, that was never said openly, right? When you talk to what's his face in Inquisition, and he'll tell you as much that, you know, on the surface, blood magic, as we understand it, isn't acceptable, but then everybody practices it. Behind closed doors, they just don't call it that. It's kind of every family's dirty little secret type thing, but it's not really a secret. Well, it's a secret as long as you don't talk about it, even though everybody knows it. That type of thing. It must be interesting there where mages run politics and everything else. It has to be completely backwards, but it seems to end the same, right? I think the Tevinter mages would use their circles as much for punishment, right, to their rivals as any Templar would. Then who would you blame? The Templars are their lapdogs. You blame other mages, but still find some way to, what? Accuse their Chantry? They don't even have the same version of Chantry that we do. Bottom line is, when people want to complain and find an excuse to gain power and hurt other people in the process, they'll do so. If it's the mage plight you're standing on, whatever. Call it what you want. Bottom line is, here, let me get more power and kill a bunch of people in the process to stand for my quote-unquote rights. Right? No one's immune from that. I'm not even picking on mages there. That's just human nature in general. I think that's kind of the point that they make. Alright, so we get a Desire Demon, then we get a Revenant here, and we're going to start seeing increasing combos of these, and they essentially become boss fights. I mean, this is no joke right here. If these corpses get the upper hand on you when you're trying to deal with that Revenant, it can get nasty. I find playing rogue, sometimes it's cool in these fights like this, in these little mob battles, figuring out what's the order of threat. In other words, what target do you need to take out first, the one that's most likely to wipe your party instantly, right? And which ones are the less threat. Sometimes it's get rid of all the ads, right? Get rid of all the little guys and fight the main enemy last, and then other times just the opposite. Sometimes, especially if you got like an arcane horror or something involved, get them out of the way first, most definitely, because they can wipe the party almost instantly. And they're usually a softer target, then get rid of the ads after. And when you have like a bunch of those targets all kind of thrown in together, damn, party chemistry and synergy really comes into play. If you don't want to just try to micromanage every detail and just get by the skin of your teeth, you know, if you want to, you know, just work through the mobs effectively, it's knowing the order of importance. And sometimes the mob battles will be set up in such a way. I think there's one that's kind of commonly referred to as the Gauntlet. I think it's a ruin up there in Sundermount by the elves. It's an above ground dwarven area, for lack of a better term. We see a lot of that in Inquisition and find out that some dwarves did come up, but they decided to build taigs essentially closer to the surface. And we see evidence of that here, and how that's intermixed with the old Imperium and their whole magic thing. I think there's a tie there, and it goes a whole lot deeper than just the surface. You know, there's lore-wise, there's a lot to be revealed as far as the connection that's there, you know, between the dwarves and the old Tevinter, and maybe even prior to the Tevinter or elves in human history and dwarven history as we know it. Go back even before that and find that there's some relevance there and some ties between magic and the dwarves and the old Tevinters and the old ancient elves and who knows what, you know. A lot of that still has to be revealed. But anyway, there's a dwarven ruin up there in Sundermount, and at one point it seems like they throw an arcane horror, desire demon, a revenant, a couple rage, you know, boss or lieutenant level rage demons, and then like 50 shades, and you like essentially all at the same time. And I mean, killing them in a certain order. I think there's one point, like once you kill one of the rage demons, then it causes like the revenant to spawn. And so I mean, there's an order to do it in, and making a mistake just gets the party just destroyed almost instantly. I mean, it's crazy the way they do it, but it's definitely a feeling of accomplishment when you get through it, because it's especially if you can do it essentially without pausing. If you can just kind of, you know, run over the enemy effectively, it makes you kind of feel like a badass. I think Dragon Age 2 does a real good job at rewarding you that way, making you feel like a kind of badass when you overcome a certain challenge. Like this right here. Okay, we have, what, 2 rage demons and some regular level shades. These aren't the short health bar shades. These are the badasses here. Keeping Anders on his feet here is the key. Keeping the heat off of him. It's just nasty. Aveline, yeah, okay. Thank you, Aveline, for using a health potion. Honestly, I didn't put any, like, spirit runes and fire resistance runes in our gear. That would help a lot here, because these rage demons actually hit really hard. I mean, like, really hard. They hit like a dragon hard. And they have a decent health pool also. I can't one-shot them with an assassin. At least not yet. I can't. Wish I could. And of course, they can do their version of stealth, where they go underground and pop up. And sometimes when they pop up and they catch you just right, they can one-shot my character, my main character. Literally one-shot. Popping up out of the ground, and once they've got their beat on you, it's kind of hard to shake that too. It's nasty. Just nasty. I think we're good now. I think we'll be alright. Getting that first rage demon down takes a lot of the damage they can do away, you know, off of the party. I think we're good. We better get rewarded for that crap right there. That's ridiculous. And I mean, it seems like it's increasingly more brutal waves of these enemies, and like, they weren't screwing around here with this DLC little side mission thing. They were not playing any games. They're serious about their demons down here in this old Tevinter ruin or whatever this is. Assuming that's what we've got going on here. But I guess they were making an extension to the house, and then they found this, and possibly a demon already down here got in touch with whoever was behind, putting the extension on the house, and had them bring in these Tevinters, right? These individuals from the Imperium, so they could kind of uncover what was going on down here and possibly perform the proper rites to summon the demon or bind the demon to whatever the demon needed to be binded to here. Or demons, I should say, plural. Seems like there's lots of them here to exercise their will over people. Now we see why the people in the mansion were having such an issue with all their vices and stuff. They got a basement full of these things down here, right? Alright. Revenants can do a kind of a slow move similar to the like the Templar lieutenants and stuff. That's no good. Oh wow. Okay, alright, now see, kill order. Arcane Horror, get him out right now. Depends on who he's aggroed on. If he's aggroed on me and does an AoE magic right there on all... Oh, thank you, Anders. See, that's why you want your tactics set properly. Anders needs to pull that shit off in a timely manner. Nice. If he'd have got off whatever he was working up there, well, he's putting all of his ingredients together there to cook up something nice and tasty for my party, he'd have probably one-shotted everybody if we would have let him pull that off. So it was nice to be able to interrupt that, and once again, having Assassinate Twin Fangs. Once I upgrade Assassinate, it becomes, if it's not brutal already, it becomes really, really effective. Alright, but if that was not the final wave, I'd hate to see what they have in store for us at the end of this, because it's literally just getting worse and worse. I'm going to say in some way I didn't have a whole lot of fun down here. In some ways, because these were pretty brutal. Lots of easy mistakes to be made down here. It really would have helped to have some resistance runes in some of my party's gear. Actually, I haven't really upgraded anything since we went to the Deep Roads. Maybe gave Anders a staff type of thing, but other than that, haven't equipped any new armor. The armor ratings are probably a good 20, 30, maybe 50, 60 points higher than what I'm wearing right now. And that's going to start coming into play. I mean, you really got to keep your equipment up with your level. And that's something I haven't really done. Yeah, see? Okay. What I have now is just basically average, but notice the stuff that's becoming available now is much higher. Now that's just common gear that I'm not going to use, but it just shows that the equipment I could be using right now is a whole lot better than what I'm wearing. All right, I think this is the end here. That's where the quest marker is leading us.
You must give me more. Starkhaven will not submit. I put that idiot Goran Vale into the Prince's seat, but the other families won't heed him. I must marry him to Flora and solidify our hold. But I need more power.
I've given you much. Your desires run deep. You've already traded your husband and your children. What more can you offer?
Okay, Blood Mage. She sacrificed Lord Harryman and her children.
50 silvers standard for a whore.
You'll hardly find my services standard.
Who is this? Who are you? How did you get here? Sebastian.
You were my mother's friend.
And she's still lucid.
How could you murder her?
Such an ugly word. I prefer remove the only obstacle between her and her dreams.
This was your idea.
I could create such desires if I wished, but it's far easier to nurture those that already exist.
Little truth there from the demon.
The desire for power is easy to find. You and your friend both possess it, do you not? You both wish to rise.
I've learned my lesson. End of discussion right there. I don't even want to talk about it. Piss on you.
I will hear no more from you.
And that's how you deal with demons. Alright, she's a blood mage. We need to get rid of her right now, or she's going to AoE the entire party instantly. In fact, she's already doing it right now. Get down. If I don't finish her off here, we're all dead. Sweet. Okay. And once I say kill order, is she was first. Now, I guess I could go concentrate on the Desire Demon, but these guys are going to harass the shit out of my party. And, yeah, they're on my mages. If they were just worried about Aveline right now, and Anders could keep Aveline on her feet, that'd be cool. See if I can do a little damage while I'm over here. Oh, can I finish her off? I don't think so. Not yet. Okay, now here, as bad as this seems right here, let's say a couple more Rage Demons and even a Revenant popped up right now. And there's a point where some of these mob battles eventually get to be like that. And it's just learning essentially what order to kill off the bosses. I think we're good now.
Let us return to the Chantry. I must pray for Lady Harriman's soul.
But just like Leech when we were dealing with the peer pressure, you know, the nighttime gang at the docks, peer pressure, get it? Just like Leech, a decent hard target as far as having some health. I mean, I couldn't one-shot her with Assassinate, and most mages you should be able to, essentially, or at least real close. And I had to hit her with everything I had to get her down and keep her down, because she gets back up and lets off one AoE spell, Blood Magic. She's going to heal herself and kill the entire party in the process.
Sebastian, I am so sorry is such an inadequate word. When I think what Mother made us do, what those creatures made us do.
No, I believe that.
We were friends, Flora.
Sebastian, you don't understand blood magic.
A cloud came down on me. All I could feel or think was what the demon allowed.
And that's because of your mother's influence over your mind, too, which makes her just so much more criminal. She already sacrificed her children and husband.
How did she find this demon?
We've never had magic in our line. Perhaps that made Mother too confident. She thought she could deal with the demon and not fall prey to it.
Right. It is demons who should be feared, not
Anders,
mages.
Anders, shut up.
Those ruins there were unearthed when we expanded
Anders
the
is too far
house.
gone.
Mother found the demon inside. I think she had signed her bargain before we even knew.
I think so too. I don't think it was all the demon.
Did your mother order the attack on Sebastian's family?
She did. You know Mother, Sebastian. She was always jealous of your parents. The demon twisted that until it was all she could think of. She was determined to seize Starkhaven for herself.
Don't blame your mother. The Desire Demon made this happen.
I doubt many people will be so forgiving. If it takes every last coin my family owns, I will make reparations to everyone we've wronged. Starting with you, Sebastian. We weren't the only ones vying for Starkhaven. If you face more opposition, you have my support.
It will not make up for what happened.
No, that's true.
I'll tell you when I need you.
Okay, so Anders, in the face of this man whose entire family was murdered by this mage who gave into this demon, sought this demon out, and was fertile ground for this demon to take root and do all this stuff, sacrificed her husband, sacrificed her own children, murdered Christian Bale's whole family, and all this. And Anders, in Christian's presence, is so devoid of anything resembling morals that he would go so far as to say, it's not the mages, it's the demons, and try to justify that. And yeah, it was 100% that bitch who sacrificed her family. Okay? And yeah, she sought out and gave in. It's not all the demon's fault. The devil made me do it. No, sorry. That doesn't fly. Devil found a lot of fertile ground to act through in your mind, lady. And that's on you. That's because you started out as a piece of crap. The devil just had a whole lot of clay to work with right there to create what we saw. So it's a shame. A lot of innocent death as a result of that mage. And there it is. Proof's in the pudding. It's experience.
I had hoped prayer might cleanse me of the Desire Demon's touch. But I still hear her voice so clearly. I feel like I've bathed in filth that will never come off.
You ought to listen to Anders tell his jokes. If you think that's bad.
You acted honorably.
Sorry.
Why are you ashamed?
The demon didn't lie. I used to be bitterly jealous of my brother. I wanted to be prince. Now everything he had is mine. And he lies in ashes. I keep asking myself, do I want this because it's right? Or simply to have what I never thought I could?
Aren't you your parents' heir?
I'm the youngest son of 3. My parents were rather traditional. They wanted the heir and the spare, and I was left in the cold. They put me in the Chantry to prevent my competing with my brothers.
You seem very dedicated to the Chantry. You were put there against your will?
At first. But it was the best thing that could have happened. I was a wild boy, a shame to my family. The Chantry made me a man. It's odd. When I wanted to rule, I would have been terrible at it. Now that I might be decent, I don't know if it's the right thing to do.
It's the wisdom not to want power that lets you use it wisely.
You didn't feel what that demon stirred in me. It cannot be right to lead any army to Starkhaven with such doubt in my heart. I owe you more than I can say, Hawk. I will offer my service to you here before I move on.
If you want to help me, do it because we're friends. There's no debt between us.
You have a good soul, Hawk. It was truly the Maker who led you to me.
The flip side of that coin when a demon attacks is if you defend yourself successfully, you can often benefit from it. Not from the demon, but from beating the demon. Hey, cool, get a trophy. Yay!
I think this is yours.
My grandfather's bow, but where did you get it?
One of the Flint Company men did some looting. I figured I'd return the favor.
Thank you. It's hard to mourn the loss of a thing while my family lies dead. But I did think of it.
What's the story behind that bow?
As the youngest son, it was my place to lead Starkhaven's militia. But I never had a talent for swordplay. Too much getting hit. My grandfather said the bow is the wise man's weapon. You can defend your city without opening its gates. Grandfather said the day I could pull the string on his bow, it would be mine.
Then why didn't you have it with you?
I was 13 when my grandfather made me that promise. I would rise at dawn to practice my shots until I could hit the eye slit of a helmet from the top of the ramparts. But my parents pledged me to the Chantry before I could show him.
Were you and your grandfather close?
He was a man of the world, Prince of Starkhaven. But he had the most unshakable faith in the Maker. When my parents threatened to pledge me to the Chantry, he told me he'd gladly trade his title for a life of contemplation. The Maker ordained a place for each of us, I remember him saying. We have only to serve.
I'm sorry I never got a chance to meet them. To save them.
I know. You're a true friend, Hawk. You brought me this to remember and honor them. But if I could bring back our lowest servant by snapping it in half, I'd do it without regrets.
Yeah, if a demon finds a chink in your armor, right, and you can brush them off, right? And, oh wow, okay, another achievement. Well, that's kind of cool. Glad I found that bow then. All right, there you have it. But yeah, and you can brush them off, and you can mend that chink in your armor, then you're the better for it. It's a little discipline. I think that has a lot to do with mage training. They basically uncover their weaknesses and learn to, you know, shore up all those openings in their defenses to where they eventually become strong enough mentally to not only use their magic well, but use it against the very demons that would use it. You know, and that's there you have it. Like I say, that's with a circle that's doing its job. Apparently, a lot of circles aren't. And the few that aren't are adding fuel to the fire of the rebel mages to basically say they're all wrong and that the circles should be abolished, not being aware that that lack of training is what got those rebel mages into the position they're in the first place, and that they are in a self-defeating cycle of destruction there. That's, you know, they're feeding, I mean, every motive and effort of theirs. Look at Anders. I mean, he's blind to anything outside of his cause. And his cause is what's going to destroy the very thing that he would like to preserve. So he thinks. But anyway, I would have to say that now the demonic influence has taken over his mind, whether it be him or justice or just the fact that he's just perverted. You know, I mean, demons are corrupt spirits. They're corrupt people. Look at Loghain. Even Flemeth would say that men's hearts can hold things darker than any tainted creature. And that says a lot, you know. Doesn't necessarily take a demon. Look at the Magister's son who was raping and killing, serial killing elven children because, you know, he'd prey on elves because he could get away with it, essentially. So he had enough lucidity and sanity in his mind to understand that, enough grasp, right, to be able to do that so he could continue to feed on his perversion. And he wanted to blame it on demons. No, he was just a piece of shit. He needed to go, right? But there you have it, you know, so just bad is just bad. Doesn't necessarily take a demon to be behind it. It's just that mages tend to seek that out because the demons promise power. And mages, they have an insatiable thirst for it, you know, at some point, especially if it can help them in their cause. And if they don't have a cause, they'll find one. And if they can't find one, the demons will show them one, you know? It's just, oh, man, it's just lose-lose. Real catch-22. Sell off some of this junk that I have here. Anyway, I think we'll head down here, and I think we'll head into the Fade on the next one, and we'll see that it's not just demons that can fall prey to temptation. Look at Sebastian there. A man of strong faith, and even he found a weakness, but he has the humility to face it and come to terms with it before doing anything rash, and I think that shows a lot of character with him, right? I mean, even if he is Mr. Princey, never had a set of dirty drawers in his life, right? Maybe so. Maybe he comes across that way, but at least, what you see is what you get. All right. Anyway, thanks for watching. I know it's kind of a long one. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to hit that subscribe button and keep up with my uploads daily, then do so. I will catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.